Now, this was United's final home league game of the season, but is it the last time Ronaldo plays at Old Trafford? His 29th goal of the season in all competitions last night. Surely he won't be leaving.
Well, you'd hope that he wouldn't. He's been such a prolific force at United this season. Yes, there's been lots of talk about, what do you do with personality, with Cristiano Ronaldo? But at the end of the day, he's one of the best players on the planet. And Manchester United have had to look to him to get them out of trouble. You've said there, so many goals this season. He was man of the match last night. He could have actually had 2 goals if he wasn't like a couple of millimetres offside. But I think Eric Ten Hag will want to work with him next season. But the thing is, if Manchester United don't get top 4, will he be tempted to get into another club to play Champions League football? Because ultimately, that's where he wants to be. He wants to be on the biggest stages. And but for the Premier League, it would be a massive loss if we don't have him, because he's one of the best players in the world, and you want the best players in the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see the logic in letting him go. I think there would have been a bit more of a reaction last night from Old Trafford and from the player himself if he suspected that was going to be his last game in a United shirt. It's obviously one of the biggest questions that the new manager has got to answer, and the conversation he's got to have with Ronaldo as well. Okay, how do we see your future? I think it would be a mistake now to be looking at building a team around Ronaldo. We've seen that that's had its downfalls this season. So Ten Hag coming in is going to have a very honest and open conversation about his role going into next season, whether he's going to be starting and playing every game, and obviously off the back of them not probably getting Champions League football, it looks like now Ronaldo will have a decision to make himself, but I suspect he'll still be there next season and still wanting to be playing a role in United's rebuild as they move forward.
Well, Jamie Carragher suggested to Roy Keane on Monday Night Football that Ronaldo's personality may make it more difficult to keep him around if he's not starting every game. Here's what Keane thinks Eric Ten Hag should do.
But you have to cut that rubbish out, like at Brentford, where he's shaking his head for 10 or 15 minutes after coming up. That's where Ronaldo has to be more mature and be a better leader. Yeah, we've said it before. Of course, you're disappointed when you come off, but don't keep it up. Don't keep it up for 1 or 2 days. That's where you got to sort that maturity out.
Right, what do you both think of that? Harriet, you go first.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say the communication between the new manager coming in and Ronaldo is key, because you can't be in a situation where you're perhaps leaving him on the bench for a few games and he's not getting the starts that he wants and he's feeling dissatisfied with that. So that's where it needs to be really clear about what his role is moving forward, because any big egos can't really be tolerated now when they're looking to have such a big upheaval. And a big upheaval is exactly what they need. And we know Rangnick spoke about having to have open heart surgery, and one of those things is going to be pulling apart Cristiano Ronaldo's role in that team and him having to take that on the chin if he wants to remain at Man United. So his personality and that might make it harder, but if there's an honest communication between the two, then you can't see it going wrong, really.
I think it's a really interesting point that Harriet makes, because yes, if there's going to be lots of changes and there's going to be upheaval, at the end of the day, Eric Ten Hag needs to get Cristiano Ronaldo on side early on. He needs to know that he's got the belief within Ronaldo that then they can go within the squad and go forwards. Because without Ronaldo, where are they going to get their goals? Because ultimately, Ronaldo scored all of their goals this season. So I think he needs to get Ronaldo on side quickly. But I also don't think Ronaldo's ever going to change his personality. At the end of the day, he's a serial winner. He hates losing. And that's just his personality. We've seen with Pochettino having to deal with the likes of Neymar, Lionel Messi. So with these massive clubs, you have these big egos. So I'll be really interested to see how Eric Ten Hag deals with Ronaldo. But ultimately, he's the one that he needs to get on side first and very quickly.
Well, with all the goals he scored, as you mentioned, Katie, Ralph Rangnick, interestingly, doesn't see Ronaldo as a striker, and he thinks that United need 2 new strikers. So for those of you watching at home, let us know who you think should come in. 2 new strikers at United. Use the hashtag GMSF. That's given you 2 a few more seconds to think, because I'm going to come to you and ask you, I'd like a name each from you. We'll start with you, Harriet.
I'm going to go a little bit random here, and I'm going to go with the Benfica striker, Darwin Núñez, only because I watched him play against Liverpool a few weeks ago, and he's that sort of younger player who I think they need to be prioritising in transfer windows moving forward. He's 22 years old. He's had experience playing in the Champions League. He looks like a really exciting, talented young player, and also one they can maybe get for a little bit less money than some of the English names they've been linked with, someone like Haaland as well. There's so many talented strikers in other leagues outside of the Premier League, so they need to be looking a little bit further afield, looking at someone a bit more up and coming, and adapt their transfer strategy moving forward, and look at long-term solutions rather than someone like Ronaldo, who is maybe a bit more of a short-term impact. So someone like Núñez would be perfect for me, but I'd quite like him at Liverpool. So maybe we'd like to see him at Man United.